In 2018, a mother orca gave birth. Her calf lived for 30 minutes, and then for the next 17 days, she refused to let it go. She carried her dead baby on her back across more than 1,000 miles of open ocean, diving to retrieve it every time it slipped off. Scientists who tracked her called it one of the most powerful displays of grief ever recorded in a non-human animal. But it also raised a question that sounds simple, and isn't. Did she know her baby was dead? And here's the one that should really bother you. Somewhere out there, is there an animal that understands death better than you'd expect? Maybe even understands its own death is coming? Stick around, because by the end of this video, I'm going to tell you about one species whose relationship with death is so close to our own, it might change how you think about the line between humans and everything else. Let's start with the obvious question. Do animals know they're going to die? For most of scientific history, the honest answer was, we didn't even try to find out. Death awareness was considered a human thing, something that required language, religion, philosophy, the kind of abstract thinking we assumed only we were capable of. That changed in 2008 because of one chimpanzee. Her name was Pansy. Pansy was an elderly chimp living in a safari park in Scotland, and she was dying. A primatologist named James Anderson was there, filming her final hours, and what he captured changed everything. The other chimps in her group didn't run. They didn't panic. They gathered around her. They groomed her gently, again and again, in her final moments. And after she died, they went quiet. Genuinely quiet, subdued, careful with each other for days afterward. One female chimp cleaned Pansy's teeth with a piece of straw. Pansy's own daughter stayed by the body all night. Alone, in the dark. This wasn't random behavior. This looked unmistakably like something we'd recognize instantly in ourselves. Anderson published his observations, and it kicked off an entire field of science that didn't really exist before. Comparative Thanatology, the study of how animals understand and respond to death. And what researchers have found since then is stranger and more widespread than anyone expected. Here's the key idea you need from philosopher Susanna Monceau, who spent years studying this. She argues animals don't need human-level philosophy to understand death. They just need two things. 1. Recognizing that a body has stopped functioning. 2. Recognizing that this stopped state is permanent. That's it. Strip away our rituals, our religions, our fear of the unknown, and death, at its core, is just a broken body that isn't coming back online. Monceau calls this the minimal concept of death, and she argues it requires way less brainpower than we used to think, which is exactly why, once scientists started looking for it properly, they started finding it everywhere. Elephants are one of the most striking examples. They've been observed gathering around dying or dead herd members, going still, touching the body gently with their trunks. Researchers have documented elephants burying dead calves, actually covering them with soil and branches. And here's the part that gets researchers too. Elephants have been seen returning, years later, to the exact bones of elephants they once knew, standing over them, touching the skull, just staying a while. Which brings us back to that orca from the beginning. Her name was Tahlequah, and marine biologists had known her for years before this happened. For 17 days, she carried her dead calf, losing weight, falling behind her pod, diving down again and again every single time the small body slipped away from her. Scientists were split. Some called it grief, plain and simple, an emotional response we'd recognize instantly if a human mother did it. Others were more cautious. Was she mourning, or did she simply not yet register that the calf was gone for good? Nobody knows for certain. But almost everyone who watched it agreed on one thing. Whatever was happening in that orca's mind, it wasn't nothing. And it's not only elephants and primates and whales. Dogs have been observed showing grief-like behavior after losing a companion. Appetite loss, searching behavior, even self-soothing habits that can look almost destructive. Some birds perform what looks like a wake, calling and gathering around a dead flock member before dispersing. Even some insects respond differently to dead members of their colony than living ones, treating them as something categorically changed, not just motionless. The more scientists look, the more it seems like recognizing death, in that minimal sense, isn't rare in the animal kingdom. It might actually be common. But here's where it gets genuinely uncertain, and honestly, kind of unsettling. Recognizing that something else has died is one thing. Understanding that death is universal, that it happens to everyone, every creature, no exceptions, is another. And understanding your own death is coming, that one specific, personal, unavoidable fact, that's the frontier science hasn't cracked. Most researchers think full personal mortality awareness, genuinely grappling with I, too, will die, is rare, maybe even unique to us. But maybe is doing a lot of work in that sentence. Because a small number of researchers think our closest relatives, chimpanzees, maybe elephants, could be edging right up to that line. Not quite human self-awareness of death, but not nothing either. We simply don't have a way to ask them. Not yet. So, do animals know they're going to die? The honest answer, many of them almost certainly know that death happens and that it's permanent. That much the evidence increasingly supports, whether they lie awake, metaphorically speaking, contemplating their own ending, the way we do. That's still one of biology's open mysteries. But maybe that's the wrong place to land this. Because what the research actually shows, again and again, isn't really about what animals understand. It's about how much more there is going on inside them than we've historically given them credit for. Grief, ritual, recognition, loss. Tahlequah swam 1,000 miles carrying a body she couldn't put down. Whatever was happening in her mind that day, I don't think nothing is the right word for it anymore. If this messed with your head a little, that's kind of the point. Hit subscribe because there's a lot more where this came from. And I want to know what you think. Drop a comment. Do you think animals understand death the way we do, or something completely different? I'll see you in the next one.